Level 2 hazmat, natural gas explosion.
Rich 22 is on scene. Engine 15, engine 21, and engine 53 en route to your location.
Fire and smoke, and God, it was the freakiest thing. I mean, debris was flying everywhere.
Our building has a really strong gas odor inside of our parking garage.
If they got the information that tells them everything that they should need to know, a good contractor is going to virtually eliminate his utility strikes.
Depending on state laws, the tolerance zone is either 18 or 24 inches on either side of the paint marks. If you dig within the tolerance zone of the marks on the ground, the utilities need to be exposed.
As I got into the insurance industry and I started seeing contractors who were out with the potential for making utility strikes, we start bringing up the subject of, well, do you use vacuum excavation? Why don't you expose these buried utilities with vacuum excavation? And it was very, very rare that somebody did.
This accident put a construction worker in the hospital with burns to his hands, face, and neck. He was the driver of a dump truck that was being loaded with pavement debris being picked up by the backhoe. Occupants of several vehicles at a stoplight near where the backhoe was working barely escaped the flames. The line had been marked, but the backhoe operator expected it to be deeper than the 18 inches at which the hit occurred.
A flash fire erupted when gas escaping from a damaged gas main ignited, and 3 workers were injured. The main had been damaged during excavation associated with a sewer project. 2 of the workers were down in the hole when a backhoe operated by another crew member cut a basketball-sized hole in the gas main. The 2 scrambled out just before the gas ignited. They were both burned, along with the 3rd worker who was standing nearby.
Later on, you started seeing, well, occasionally, if there was like a high-value utility in the area, something that was potentially a big risk, or they thought there was a high likelihood that they were going to hit it, well, then they might subcontract a vacuum guy to come out and expose the utility. We saw it some on municipal jobs. Some municipalities were concerned about their water lines being hit, and they were coming out and exposing it for contractors or for their own guys when they were going to be working.
Most state laws require hand digging or similar measures to uncover marked lines at dig sites. This is not one of the faster processes in an excavation job. And even hand digging can damage cable or plastic gas pipe.
If you hand dig past the indicated depth, it's possible you missed the line or it's been mismarked. The major reason why clearly marked lines are hit by excavation equipment is that someone digs within the safety buffer. State laws usually limit how close excavating equipment can come to markings indicating the presence of underground lines. Usually, this legislated safety buffer is 18 inches to 2 feet on each side of the line. Within that safety buffer, only hand digging or other safe means of excavation can be employed. With those laws on the books, what can you say when your backhoe hits a clearly marked line?
A crew installing drainage pipe snagged the cable with a backhoe. It affected some 100,000 phone circuits and isolated several towns from the long-distance network. The line was marked. The excavator had been informed of its location. Apparently, the backhoe dug within the safety buffer.
A medium-pressure gas line, buried about 7 feet below the ground, was struck by a backhoe.
Oh, it could have been dangerous for the guy on the trackhoe that hit the line, that, if it had exploded. It had a medium pressure line, which is about 45 to 48 psi.
Police rerouted traffic, causing major headaches for local commuters.
A common problem is that the backhoe operator sometimes sees no danger in taking just one more scoop to help expose the line. After all, the line is probably several feet deep, and taking a scoop or 2 off the top will help the hand digger expose it faster. However, there is no standard depth for burying cable and pipe. Road graders have hit lines barely inches below the surface, while well drillers have hit lines at 30 feet deep or more. It all depends on how much grading and filling has been going on at the site, or how much erosion.
Gas and power, them you don't want to hit. The other stuff ain't so bad. I mean, sure, it knocks them out, but at least power and gas will kill you.
In the case of this high-profile boring accident, the crew potholed at the location of the utility. However, what they didn't do was expose down to the depth of their excavation.
We have a lot of abandoned facilities. Company goes in, they have a gas line in place. 50 years down the way, that gas line is no longer in use, and they bury another facility within that same area in the easement. What happens is that excavator goes out, they dig down, they find that first structure, and then they make the assumption that that first structure is what was indicated by the locate markings. They dig down with a machine right underneath there, protecting the abandoned structure, and hit a live facility right underneath it. But that excavator needs a hand or vacuum excavate down to the depth of their intended excavation. That means as they're going through, they can watch that borehead or machine pass through the tolerance zone and make sure that it does not vary.
I'm a big advocate for the bag, honestly. If you got extra dirt, I think it's a great thing. You got someplace to dump it, you get water, you can speed up your production.
This house was a daycare facility. When workers installing drain pipe in the street struck a gas line, it exploded, seriously injuring 3 small children. The daycare provider later died of burns. It would appear that the line location had been marked, but the contractor said it was not buried as deeply as would normally be expected.
A backhoe hit a gas line in St. Paul, Minnesota. 3 people died and 11 were injured. The line had been marked by the gas company, yet somehow that backhoe bucket got too close to it. A $10 million lawsuit was filed in this case just 9 days after the accident. Taking chances on the depth or location of a buried line makes an excavator vulnerable to criminal prosecution. The best defense is to make exposing the lines the first step in an excavation project.
Vacuum excavation has come a long ways over the last decade, even I'll say 5 to 6 years. It was a challenge to find a vacuum excavator out on a utility excavation site, where today I would venture to say probably maybe hopefully half of those sites have the presence of a vacuum excavator. There's a lot more involved, but I think the industry has come a long way. It's helped minimize damage when excavating.
I'm amazed at the percentage of claims that we see that happen during hand digging or probing. Hand digging is not the answer. Hand digging damages utilities. I've never seen a VACX claim. I've seen lots of claims from guys hand digging. So,
during a gas line replacement project, a 7-person gas company crew bored into an existing gas service, causing an explosion which left a man dead and damaged approximately 30 neighboring homes. This was blind boring. The gas line that they hit was a service feeding the home that exploded. The day after the incident, the gas company announced that they were responsible for the explosion.